Hey
All right.
guys, nice to see you.
Hello, I'm Jill, and this is Eric Bugbee. We are the creators of Fiverr. Our first book series, Fiverr Finds Home, has hit the market on Amazon, I believe, the weekend of March 6th. So we are here today. Joining us is our super talented and amazing illustrator, Jennifer Davison. And she's
Hi.
hailing, yes, she's hailing all the way from Belfast Island, Ireland, right?
Yeah, Northern Ireland, yes.
Yes. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I'm a children's book illustrator from Northern Ireland, as you say. Worked on about 30 books so far, including yours, the first one in Fiverr.
Yes. Are we the 30th?
Hey, I think you might be. There's a few not released yet, but
Oh,
yeah.
that is so awesome. I guess
Wonderful.
I guess for the format of this talk, we just really wanted to share with our audience, currently live or future, about the process that we undertook as far as taking an idea, actually from a dream, from my dream, and then how that process goes from the dream to the story development in animated feature film to children's book, and then to the character design and illustration. So if you can follow us in that level, we're probably going to go through those steps. So I guess we could just right away start with how the idea was born for Fiverr. Fiverr is the world's first blue dwarf giraffe. Okay. And I actually dreamt of him. This was back in the spring of 2019. And I was going into a restaurant, and he was the host and the server there. Like, he's the only one I saw there. And he was gracefully gliding through the room, grabbing menus and glass cups and plates and setting them gracefully on the tables. And then he approaches me and he goes, 5:15. And then the dream ends like that. But instinctively, I
He
knew
went 5:15?
yeah. Well, no, he asked a question. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's the way he talked. But instinctively, I knew that his name was Fiverr. And so when I woke up and told Eric about it, and then we later ended up sharing with our kids, um, you know, we all just kind of came up with the fact that he had 5 purple spots because his name is Fiverr. And so in the dream, I did see he had purple spots, but I didn't count. So we just kind of took that for creative license to give him 5 purple spots. And then from there, Eric and I actually developed the story as a feature film because we are, filmmakers. So you want to take over that a little bit?
Well, we developed it in a 3-act structure,
Yeah.
which we teach our students at. We have a small digital film academy called Film Busters Academy, and the core, the basis of every movie, every film is the story. And so you have to have a great story. And so we like to write in 3-act structure, beginning, middle, and end, with our plot points, our beat points, and we break things down into 40 scene cards generally. And so that's what we did with Fiverr as we developed the story, as we developed the character, who he is, and the fun adventure that he would have in the first go around in a movie form, like for an 1.5 to 2 hour long movie. And so after we did all that, we thought, all right, it's probably going to take us a while to get funding for this and to get everything together, to actually write the script, because a treatment's a condensed version of, maybe say it's a 100-page screenplay. The treatment might have been 10 to 20 pages, for instance, with everything in there. Not really much dialogue, but just enough to kind of get you the whole story. At that point, after we realized, wow, we should write a book, Jill said, all right, let me write the book. Well, no, I think she said, I'm going to write the book because I'm a much better condenser than you are.
Yeah.
Because I tend to write long. I'm very detailed. And you?
I like songwriting. I do songs, and I like smaller, shorter types of literature to write. So I ended up writing that, I think, in a course of about a month. Wrote that.
No, it was only a week.
Was
it
only
took 5 days. 5 days.
Oh, 5 days for Fiverr.
Yeah.
But then again, I think it's a course of a month though, as far as fine tuning everything.
Okay.
And then we ended up finding a publisher during that time as well. And then we went on a global search for our illustrator, and it took about I'd say about 3-4 months searching. We had a local friend of ours who's also an illustrator, and we immediately thought, oh, maybe this person. But as we were going through the process, we were just trying to be open to God's leading. We believe this is a a divine appointment type of project. And it was definitely divinely inspired through a dream. We teach our kids all the time, or, you know, we pray over them godly dreams at night. So
Dreams from heaven.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we ended up going on this search, and then I guess I'll turn it over to Jennifer, what her experience is, like having first looked at my post on Facebook. I believe I posted it on a Facebook group of Children's Market, Children's Illustrator Market was the name, I believe. Yeah.
So Jennifer, do you want to jump in at this point?
Yeah, so I had been journaling a bit, and I had actually, in my journal, I had wrote the 15th of July. It was just a date that I felt that God kept giving me, and it kept coming up. And I kind of wrote something, there's something significant about this date, and I didn't know what it was. And I kind of thought, you know, I have a friend whose birthday it is, and I was like waiting every 15th of July. This was the 15th of July, 2017. So I was waiting every year for something to happen. Also, during that time, I was at a workshop, and a girl had gave me a drawing. I'll just show you it.
It's just showing that.
Whoop, Jill just put the live on there. Sorry about that. Go ahead, Jennifer.
Yeah, it's 4 trees and a river. So I've been getting all these words and pictures. I also, and I haven't shared this with you guys, I was given, my mom does like prophetic art workshops, and she had,
wonderful.
yeah, she had like washes of paint, and we were all given out like this wash of paint. And this man, Wilbert Morton, he was given this specific one, and he says, I think it's for you. And I can see, so this was like the wash. I don't know if you can see, but he drew, this will be probably reversed. He drew this shape, and then he wrote, it looks a bit like California. So I just kept this.
Oh, wow.
I was like, oh, I don't know. I did a bit of work for America, but nothing in California. And then, so kept that in my journal. And then my mom and another friend actually sent your link to say this author is looking for an illustrator. And like, just to say, I don't normally go after work. Like, thankfully, God has brought stuff to me. But yeah, just to note that there was something significant about this, and God's like, yeah, email them. And even like a few years before, I'd seen the film you're working on. Maybe you want to talk about it, but it linked into something God had been speaking to me about, so I had bookmarked it and I watched it. And then in the process of Googling your name just to see who you were, I realized that you guys were the creator of this film, which is like just unbelievable.
Yeah, and that film, by the way, to our audience, is Quantum God. It's a documentary feature film in development that we have, among our other ones that we're working on, looking to explore where science and faith converge. So I believe, Jennifer, you had mentioned one time that, you know, God has been speaking to you around that time that you saw our film about God's creation, you know, and he's the author of so many amazing things in the world, and that his glory is covering the earth. So you want to talk about that a little
Quantum God, by the way, is not finished yet. We are still in production on it. It's a documentary, and there's still some things to do. So it's not done yet.
Yeah.
She saw a promo.
Yeah.
But anyhow, yeah, you want to pick up from there, Jennifer?
Yeah.
Yeah, so God had given me this vision about doing, like, coming up with this book about science and how God's in everything. He's the creator. And then when I was doing a bit of research, I came across your promo for Quantum God, and it just, like, it really resonated with me. Like, and I watched it over and over. I was like, wow, there's something in this. Like, it sends like shivers, even speaking about it now. Like,
Yeah.
Wow, I'm feeling that too.
Yeah, so just something in that. And then when I emailed you guys, like over the couple of months, you got back to me, and because you're working when I'm sleeping and I'm working when you're sleeping, so you had sent this email in July, and you sent the contract through, and when I woke up the next morning, I got the contract, and that was the 15th of July, that date that had been ringing in my ear. So it just was like, whoa, like, this like never before. So yeah, of course I signed it.
Yeah. And we are actually so amazed and so glad that you reached out to us, because like I said, we, you know, sometimes in life, I mean, I'm sure our audience also can relate that, you know, once you know people, it's like, oh, you kind of automatically think like, oh, it's that person because they're in our life, right? It's that person that we need to work with. It's that person that we need to talk to or whatever. But in this case, because we truly believe this is a God-ordained project, you know, I can't even take credit for it, guys. it's from God, right? And so one of the things that we've learned in this process is to be open to his leading, as far as being open to other people, strangers from anywhere, right? So when Jennifer contacted me, immediately I knew there was something special about her, because then I started, besides looking at her work and how talented she is and how many books she's produced, there was just something that resonated with me with Jennifer, because of her heart, you know, for the Lord, and then the works that she's been doing. And then once we started doing an initial conversation, it was just like an immediate connection. And so, you know, I just want to encourage you guys to be open to God's leading and the divine appointments with strangers. And it's just such an exciting process. And then when Eric came on board to speak with Jennifer as well about the project, I mean, you guys connected so well too. And then
absolutely,
in that process, we began working together July 15th of 2020. And then Eric started working on the storyboards. You want to quickly say what those are?
Well, yeah. So storyboards, when Jill and I were talking through the overall story flow, you know, how the treatment would be for the movie. And then when we decided to condense it down to a book, I asked her, I said, hey, can I direct it? You know, well, who directs books? You know, it's, well, there are art directors, of course. But what do movie directors do? Movie directors draw storyboards. Storyboards are what allow the cinematographer and the crew to set up all the shots. And when you go in on a shoot, you know what your setups are going to be. And so I did all these storyboards for the book, and, you know, we hired Jennifer then to take these things and take them to the stars. If you guys have the book already, you probably recognize that in the schematic that shows right there how tall fiber is compared to normal giraffes and human beings. And so I thought, all right, well, this is cool. I can at least do the storyboards. I'm not trained formally as an artist. I am as a filmmaker, and film is the synthesis of the arts, as we like to say. And because it brings in all kind of arts, you know, it brings in illustrators, graphic designers, cinematographers, writers, musicians, composers, set designers, you know, across the board. And we love to bring people together and collaborate. And that's what we do. And so it's like, okay, I don't need to do all the drawings. I don't want to do all the drawings. I am not the best, but we wanted to get the best.
Yes.
And that's what you do. And so that's why, you know, God brought us Jennifer, because he knew he knew she would be the best for fiber.
Yes.
And so we are so thankful for her.
Yes. And also I want to segue into that real quick. Jennifer, do you have the 4 trees?
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that? Like real quick, like, you know, and then because Eric's also going to find his illustration with that in that regard. So anyway.
This is so cool.
Yeah,
guys.
This is another prophetic journey that we are always meant to work with Jennifer.
Yeah, so I was given this, and actually we were at a prophetic workshop, and
Can you lift it higher so we can see all 4 trees? The bottom was cut off.
Yeah, it's just I have our details on the bottom.
Oh, okay.
There we go. So this girl came up to me, and she was quite shy and timid, and she was like, I have a picture for you. And I was like, oh, okay, tell me. I was so excited. And then she was like, oh, but it's 4 trees in a river, but it's like a child's drawing. And she didn't know I was a children's book illustrator, so I was really excited about that. So I made her draw it. She's like, oh, it's a straight up and down trunk with a bush on top, you know, like a child might draw a knot with all the branches and stuff. So I was like, okay. And then I took this, and I just felt like I had to tell her, I'm going to give me your contact details, and I'm going to email you because God's going to show me this. But I had no idea it was going to be a book with you guys or anything. So I've been holding on to this for a couple of years now, waiting for this. And then when Eric sent through, I've got a copy here, his roughs, you can see the 4 trees and the river, and the trees are straight up and down, bushy top, like no branches.
And then the river there.
And the river as well just really reflects what she sent. And even the fact that these trees are not just like background, like these trees are kind of like they bring the story like full circle, like they're key to the whole story.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're
wow.
they're the, I know, me too. They're the baobab trees of of Africa. You know, they're one of the most famous trees of Africa, baobab. And so that's, I mean, yeah, this is the version right here for you, right?
Yeah. That is so cool.
Yeah.
Anyhow. Okay, so let's keep going, Jennifer. Keep going. We want to hear you talk because I love your accent.
I'm sure our audience does too. So what was your feeling when you finally got the storyboard from Eric and in one of those matched like what you prophetically received 2 years ago before that?
Yeah, I mean, that was just crazy. I mean, when I first got them, I was so excited and I was like I flicked right through the back. And then when I kind of stopped and went back and was kind of thinking, okay, how would I interpret this? Like, how would I draw it? And then I just was looking at this and it didn't, like, first flicking through it, I didn't notice. And then when I was thinking about how I would picture it when I would draw it, it dawned on me, this is that picture that the girl Sharon had gave me a couple of years before. So that was just that and the date, and there's more and there's more.
There's more. Yeah, there's more. But yeah, like there's so as you guys can see to our audience, there's already like the date, well, her finding us and us finding her, you know, in reciprocal fashion. And then after that, like one of the main things too that have happened in our working relationship from July of July 15, 2020 to January 6th. January 6th was the time that Jennifer handed all of the final illustrations to us. And on that day, which is kind of marked, sadly, in our country, the US, that was like the day of the Capitol riot and all that stuff. And surprisingly, though, I was going through the news feed in my Google, and I saw this amazing article by New York Times Magazine about the first time in history, check this out, the dwarf giraffes have been discovered.
And it was finally released. They discovered this giraffe, Nigel, over in Namibia, and they discovered him in July of 2020, which is the same month we contracted with Jennifer. And they released the article on January 6th, 2021, the day that we get our final artwork back from Jennifer so that we have our book finished. And it's so mind-blowing. And this guy Nigel, or this giraffe Nigel, this first dwarf giraffe ever studied in scientific discovery, he's about 7 feet tall.
5 or
7 feet tall. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's crazy. And only God knew. Yeah. Only God knew. You know, only the scientist had found him. You know, there he is. Let's see. There. I know it's a little small, but, you know, I saw this image. I saw it. And these other things, you know, I'm visual. And, of course, Jennifer saw what she saw and she got what she got, you know, and it's just so many confirmations. And throughout this whole thing, throughout the book, Fiverr, he's a prophetic giraffe. Yeah. He sees signs in the heavens that help guide him on his journey. And it's like, you know. Yeah,
he sees something and then it happens. He sees another thing and then it happens. And then he sees another thing, it happens until he finally finds home, you know, because it's basically his journey of finding purpose, for being born different. You know, he's the first blue dwarf giraffe, right? But what's fascinating about this article, if you want to just quickly share and pull it up there, is that the scientists were trying to discover him. When they discovered him in July, they were observing if he was just a kid giraffe or if he was actually a, you know, if he was going to grow up. So when he never grew up, they documented that he was a dwarf. So there he is.
Isn't that amazing? That's Nigel. We'll dye him blue and put spots on him, and he can play Fiverr in a live action in a live action movie. Yeah,
which is fun. Or maybe God will supernaturally produce a blue giraffe. I don't know,
but you know,
nothing's
so
impossible,
neat.
Right, Jennifer?
Anything's possible, yeah.
What did you think when the article came out, when we showed you?
Yeah, I mean, that was incredible. Because even I have the book here with your chart. And I was doing all the wee measurements and things. And it just came up like that, even all the measurements. And, you know, you nearly think that you don't really need that in a kid's picture book. They'll not pay attention to it. They're too young, but, you know, they do, and they will pick up on that. But just that you even thought, yeah, this is important to include this.
Yeah. Well, you have to have the schematics, right?
Yeah.
It's like even with the schematics of the placement of Fiverr spots, it's important because they need to be consistent across the board. And it's like, you just do those things, and it makes it more real, I think, when you include those factual things.
Yeah, that's awesome. So anyway, we've discussed the prophetic journey so far of like our working relationships, how we basically got put us together. And if you want to go back to the cover, I want to kind of now touch and transition into how was the process of the character design, Jennifer? Because like what was the process like? Do you remember how long it took us to probably just come up with actual character design? I forget. Like 2 months?
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Yeah, a couple of months. Yeah, getting the character was key, and then after that, like the rest of the story kind of flows. He sets the scene.
Yeah, and it was all you really with the character design. Can you talk a little bit about like your process and because I only gave you the clue of he's blue and he's got 5 purple spots and then he's got big eyes because he was really, really kind to me. And
well, I did.
Yeah, well, and also
I had the initial schemes, but she made him really
amazing,
just so handsome,
and
like lovable.
Yes, can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I was looking at real giraffes, and actually they're quite pointy and sharp, and you want them to be warm and friendly and round. So we were looking at kind of how you would draw a dog and stuff like that, with those friendly big like puppy dog eyes, and just making his snout or his nose or whatever just soft and round. And then you had the color scheme set, and then it was just playing about with like we were drawing him standing and 4 legs and 2 legs, and just seeing how he would work, in all the different poses and angles throughout the story.
Yeah, and then I heard like in drawing, I'm not an illustrator at all, but you've also kind of researched, like, don't they kind of seem like the rounder features are a little bit more easy on the eyes type of thing? Is that something that's like?
Yeah, it definitely is like a friendlier, softer sort of look. And if you're doing angles and things, I guess that makes him younger. It makes him appeal to a younger audience as well.
I see. And now you've had a lot of experience doing animals, right? I can see in the background there some of the works that you've had. If you could just see.
Yeah. So I've done. This is a shrew.
Oh, he looks so cute.
Yeah, so I do quite a lot of animals. I have another one in behind.
Oh, I love that one.
So my brother, he wrote the story for it. So again, with the big eyes and just making it cute. And then we with Fiverr was like, I really love the white against, the color. It really makes the characters pop. We've done that with Fiverr as well. So
yeah.
We've been hearing that too. People are saying, wow, it just stands out so much because it is the white background. And it's like, he's just standing there wanting to greet you,
Yeah, with a bunch of treats on his back. Yeah. And now with a bunch of treats on his back, that was actually pretty influential of our daughter, Kayla. She's 7 years old, and whenever we go to through bookstores or toy stores or anything like that, anything treats and oriented, like I think it's the same probably with boys too, around that early school age range. They just gravitate towards like treats, like donuts and cupcakes and milkshakes and donuts and cupcakes and milkshakes. It's like oh, so when we were talking about the book cover, I had the idea of like, oh, we should definitely have like a lot of treats on the back of Fiverr, because he ends up working at a restaurant, a cafe, originally in my dream, right? So that was a fun one, huh, Jennifer, to work on that.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, can I show the spread?
Yeah.
With him spilling them all.
Oh, that's one of my favorite.
Yeah.
Show it.
It was just fun drawing him, trying to get him to hold them on his back, and then try and catch someone. And then you were just saying, "Oh, we need some sundaes and cupcakes and maybe some healthy strawberries in there as well."
Yeah.
Can you hold that spread up there so that we can go from my rough that's kind of at maybe a little almost par to your amazing spread. So here we go. There's the original. And now Jennifer's.
Jennifer has to talk.
You have to talk.
Yeah, so no, but your roughs were so helpful in like visualizing straight away, like I knew what you were wanting, how you were wanting to tell the story visually. So I was just able to get stuck in and really concentrate on like the colors and yeah. Yeah,
Love
so
it.
Awesome.
love that spread.
I love it.
Speaking of that spread, real quick, we're gonna ask you to, hopefully that would be so neat, to animate those and put it back on Fiverr's back. Yeah, like a little video animation. That would be super cool.
I think you probably do that.
Yeah, I mean, Jennifer, isn't that a little bit about your background? A little bit of the animation. Can you tell us a little about that?
Yeah, I worked in animation in an animation studio, and we did stuff for children's TV back here. Yeah, so that's my background. That's where I started doing the visual straight. So I still draw like I'm drawn for animation, So it's all ready to go, someday.
That's awesome. I'm gonna go through while you talk a little bit. I'm gonna go through some of our Facebook Live audience here watching us.
To see if there's any questions.
Yeah, if there's any questions, start posting it here. That would be awesome.
Oh, can I mention one thing?
Some of the people are saying amazing confirmations. She did an amazing job. You nailed it. He looks so friendly. Let's see. Oh yeah. What else? Oh, one person said, Jennifer, I know this isn't on the subject, but your hair is so great. That's great. All right. Thank you, audience. Yeah, just post some questions. We're going to start taking questions soon. So as Eric is talking here, I'll let you guys post questions.
Yeah. So one of the neat things that we wanted to do about 5 minutes ago, we were talking about, we kind of wanted to give Fiverr some dog features. And the one feature that I absolutely loved, that I made a note in here. I don't know if you can see it right there. Let's see. I wanted to have his ears be so expressive like that of a Labrador Retriever, and we had a dog, we had a yellow lab, and we knew what he was thinking just by the way his ears would be, if he was being inquisitive or if he was upset or if he was happy, just the way that his ears would be situated. And so that's something that we definitely, brought into the mix with this. And I think Jennifer nailed it. So thank you, Jennifer, for taking that.
Yeah. And there's even the end scene where his tongue is flapping in the wind, so I love those scenes. But I guess we could transition into talking about like, what was the process for you as far as like illustrating the book after we did the character design?
Yeah, so I was working on Fiverr, and then once we done that, I think we moved on to the family and getting them kind of.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so that was fun. Just working on I think I started with the little girl and little boy first, and then we worked on the parents, and then just adding him in. Like I love the kind of the blue against those like orange, yellow African tones at the start, like just the contrast. They were real fun to do. Oh, and I don't want to be showing you.
No, it's okay. That's okay. That's Please do, because you're excited about this, and we are excited for you and with you.
And the star phase, like at night, I mean, that was really just lovely to do. Lovely scene. And then saying about
I loved what you did with that. I love the take on that. Can you talk a little bit more about that one?
Yeah, do you want to show do you have your rough handy just to show?
I like yours so much better than mine, but this is mine. Okay, so you can see the hat, you can see his traveling through the valley down by the river, and I had Fiverr being very small, of course, with my directing notes there. But I tell you what, Jennifer she nailed it so much better, so amazing. Okay, talk about your version now.
No, but I think it's really interesting for people to see where it came from, and then how it kind of ended up, and just even, we changed it just for the flow of the star coming in, and, just how your eye flows, having the bigger mountain kind of cliffside at this, and just, just the nighttime kind of scene. And then I'd done the stars white, and then you were like, we do them yellow because this is key. This comes to play.
Can you just and that page is very significant because What is the text on that? I mean, that is the page where he basically calls out to God, to the creator of the universe.
Why he was made different, right? I mean, we all have that as a journey. I mean, I believe the audience can relate to, you know, every single person has a journey of kind of questioning, like, what am I made for? And what is my purpose here on earth, right? And then specifically for people too, that feel they are different, you know what I mean? Like, we all can relate, you know, no matter what background we are, you know, we all can relate at some point in our lives. Like, okay, I feel really different, and I don't feel adequate in this, or I don't feel enough to do this. And so personally for me, I mean, coming from the Philippines, you know, I immigrated here when I was 12 with my family. Even though we learned English back home, it was still a whole new country to me. You know, it's like whole new weather. It's like we landed in California from the Philippines, but I had to learn, like, okay, I feel different, you know? So it was those awkward years. So I could totally relate to this character of really trying to find your way in terms of navigating through, you know, society and people's expectations. And so, yeah, it's definitely a finding identity type of book as far as the theme is concerned. So,
and and with that, you know, everybody at some point in their life deals with this issue of trying to figure out, well, who am I really? What was I made to do? Who am I? And just finding significance in life. And I think our biggest quest, you know, in all of the storytelling that we do, in all of the films that we write and produce, and all those things, our core is to encourage people, I guess, to seek, well, not I guess, but definitely to seek God, because we will only find our true purpose and calling in life, I believe, by going to the one who created us and hearing him speak to us and show us the way. And so that is probably the main reason, I think, why we made Fiverr, because we all have to deal with this stuff at some point or another. And so many people fall into, you know, depression or into the wrong path because they grasp things. And, you know, I think maybe people are just missing God. And if they found him or tried to hear him, they would get right on track and feel like a deep sense of purpose and deep significance in life. And, you know, we see that with Fiverr, and that scene that you just showed us, that is the scene that is key, I think, to the whole book.
Yeah. It's just a questioning of identity, and then by the end, you know, he finds it. So I think it's a really amazing journey that not only parents can relate to, and grandparents, because it's a little bit more older type of theme. But I think early on, you know, in the younger children, we have children age almost 12 and a 7-year-old. But yeah, it really gets them to think like, oh, why is he different? You know, one of my friends' child actually has been asking her mom a lot of questions because she read the book, and she's like, well, how does Fiverr do great things even though he's little? You know, or why did God make him blue? You know, and why is he different? And so it's like, even these questions, it's like, it's so deep, right? Coming from a, you know, 4-year-old. But it's like, it's amazing because, you know, those are really the questions that all of us really deal with at some point in our lives, all throughout our lives, I think. So anyway, Jennifer, I want to hear your take on that, as far as like kind of just the theme of the book and how it kind of spoke to you as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm real life Fiverr. Sometimes just I'm always questioning, like, what was I made for? And I knew, even when I was working in animation, as much as I loved it, I had this call to do children's books, and I fought with that for a while, because that was a bit of a risk, you know, going out on your own and stuff. But just like how I learned to hear God, and like, it's not just like he speaks in English or in words. It's like things like, you know, Fiverr sees him in the stars, or, you know, he is everywhere, and he's speaking, you know, through anything. If you're just tune into that, and to recognize, even in the dates, like the 15th of July, like things that repeat, like dates and numbers, or, you know, pictures, you know, that there's something in that repetition is God, like, hi, I'm here, like, listen to me. And just how Fiverr can see God and see a greater purpose in, you know, like see something in the trees, or, you know, all the different things, like just to stop and listen and to look for that, because he is speaking every day. If you just, you know, if you search it, you'll find like what he's saying, and just to follow that, like he brought me to you guys, you know. It's just, I feel like it reflects this story in the background story. Yeah, and like that could be for anyone if you just are tuning in and open to hearing that guiding and that voice.
That's so true. It's so true. I mean, it's like it's amazing that we're doing this author illustrator sharing to the audience and to the world, because we're sharing about how the journey is that usually starts with God, you know, from a dream to story development, and partnering with God as far as also using our talents, right, and our experience, and then also trusting him to just bring the right people to work with, you know, and God bringing Jennifer along our path. And she already had that journey even way before we even started the project. You know, like it was like I got the dream spring of 2019, but Jennifer has already begun the journey even about this 2018, or I believe 2017. So it's kind of like this whole process of all coming together. And when there's a convergence in, you know, between the dream and the talents and the people and the resources, and when it's all converging like that, then there's like the final product, you know, which is a children's book for now, which we plan to be a series, actually, a children's book series. At the same time, an animated feature film.
Or live action animated.
Yeah, right.
We'll see.
And also possibly a TV show in the future. So it's like one of these like projects that came from God, right? And then we partnered, you know, as he brought the teams together in his vision to basically, you know, convey like, you know, his purpose for people, what they're made to do, right? So it's amazing.
Yeah, and some of my earliest memories with, you know, kind of learning to hear God's voice, it's like there's nothing more fascinating than being able to hear God's voice and to communicate with him. And when I was about 10 years old, that was when I really came to know who God is, you know, through Jesus. And at that age, I had a strong impression that I'd meet my wife in California. And so I grew up in Pennsylvania on the East Coast, and I had to go to California and meet my wife, my lovely bride here, Jill, in Los Angeles. And we met, you know, doing an outreach at a park and praying for people and passing out root beer floats. And, you know, she was an engineering student, and it's like not a creative, but God knew she was creative inside, although she was hard sciences. And it's just like, well, I came from a family of engineers. And so, you know, it's just, I thought I was going to be an engineer up until about 10th or 11th grade. So it's very interesting how God moves, you know, and how for me, he put a heart to tell stories. He gave me a heart to tell stories through cinema and various different ways. And, you know, he called that out of Jill first as a songwriter, you know? And so
short stories, story development as well. And it's amazing with Jennifer though. Jennifer, you said you actually came from the animation background and then into illustration, right?
Yeah, actually, and that even in itself was like a God thing, because I kind of just got like a bit disillusioned with like, well, with God and everything really. And I just had prayed, you know, I want to see the God like of John 10:10. Like I want to be living in like the fullness, abundant life. And I want to see this God that I read about, like the God of signs and wonders, like do that in my life. And I kind of had gave him like an ultimatum. I was like, either show up or, you know, I'm done with this, because you kind of fill your life with like activities and you're doing stuff for church and all, and that's not always what it's all about. But for me, that had became like the thing. And then like the very next day, I went in and I was told that my position was ending, and that was on the 30th of March, on my 30th birthday. So I just knew that God's like, yeah, like we're going to do this children's book thing. And even like for the next 9 months I was trying, and I didn't set out to do Bible stories. I just wanted to do children's books, and I was finding it really hard to get like a foot in the door. And then there was this book that came up, and it was like really cool and trendy, but it was about God, and I was like, oh, like I've never seen anything quite like that. And then this book came up at a market again this week, And then I was emailed it, and then someone said, you know, you might be interested in this. And this book was coming up again and again. So I ended up emailing the publishers, and then they had to work, like, just was divine timing. They had a story that just suited my style. And then from that, they've just been, yeah, getting like open doors. And then that started a 10-part Bible story series. But yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
That is awesome. Is that one of them right there I see in the background? Is that the one with the Noah?
Yeah, there's a whole 10 of these.
Wow.
So it was Christmas one I did first, which was my first published book. And then, so I've been working with them for a while. And actually, the book that I saw was called God's Very Good Idea, which I just love because it was God's very good idea that I would be doing kind of God-inspired children's books.
That is such an awesome journey, Jennifer. And you know, when you were saying about like your positioning ending on the 30th, and then when you were 30, and then now you're almost at 30 books.
yeah, exactly. And then that was kind of a key, like, to be, that God was saying, you know, numbers and dates, that's a significant way of how God speaks. So that's when I started to look out for, like, hearing dates and seeing numbers and the 50.
Yeah, absolutely. Because even when Fiverr in my dream, when he said to me at the very end of when he approached me, and it's like this big blue giraffe going zip, you know, like 5:15. And like, is that my reservation time? You know? But the dream ended like that. And so we're still on a discovery process of what 5:15 really means, even though we did start a company, a publishing company called 5:15 Publishing.
Yeah.
But we just still don't know the extent of what that number really means yet. You know what I mean? So we're still on a discovery mode. We don't know what how that will unfold over time. So yeah, it's true what Jennifer says. It's like the Lord definitely speaks in a lot of ways, through nature, through numbers, through people. I mean, especially through his word, right? The Bible. And I believe encounters with him anywhere you are. So that's
and I just have to add this.
Yeah.
So you mentioned he does speak through the Bible. He speaks through scripture. So here's the thing. One way to know that you're hearing God's voice or not is that God will never contradict his word.
Yes.
He's not going to go against his character that's written in scripture. So if you're asking to hear what your destiny is, or if you need to do something, if it's not right, if it's something that's evil, it's not God telling you to do it.
Yeah.
So I just had to get that in there because I don't know who is watching, you know.
Yeah. Side note. Yeah, it's true. I mean, it always has to be consistent with his character. But,
that's right.
But we're so excited about this project. You know, it's touching children. It's making them start conversations, you know, with their parents, and really start delving more about the deep things of purpose, life purpose. So that's what's so special about this book, because there's so many signs and wonders peppered all throughout, as far as educational too, because we also explore the family names of other animal groups, right? Like a smack of jellyfish
or a zeal of zebras. I mean, come on.
Yeah. So there's some educational aspect to it, but really at the heart of it is the theme of you know, belonging and finding purpose, you know, in life. And so, you know, that's really our heart is for parents and grandparents and people to get this book for kids and start conversations like, you know, about purpose and destiny, right? So anybody else? One of our audience asked, is there going to be an in-person live event? Yeah, we would probably have that starting with our Christian school. Actually, we got invited to do a book author reading from K to 5th grade. So the whole,
where our kids go to school,
the entire like school from K to 5th grade. So we're going to do a book author reading locally here in Allentown, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
So,
and then when it does release, like in the brick and mortar stores,
Barnes and Noble or other stores.
Yeah, we expect to be doing, you know, live events there, book signings and readings and things like that. And hopefully this summer, we were looking at going on a little tour throughout the U.S. To different bookstores and doing that.
Yeah.
So we don't have a list yet. We're just on Amazon, you know, right now. But we want to get those numbers up because as those numbers go up, as the sales go up on Amazon, it makes it, you know, more palatable or attractive to the brick and mortar type of stores.
Yeah.
So,
and it's only on paperback right now and Kindle on Amazon, but on 5/15, that's what we're hoping for. On May 15, we're going to releasing the hardback format. So
yeah.
But hopefully, as far as tours are concerned, we should probably get something up there, Jennifer, and in Belfast.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys are welcome over here anytime, when all this lockdown lifts and stuff.
Yeah. That would be awesome.
That would be so
to update
cool.
our passports.
Yeah. And also in the future, somebody else asked here, future plans of Fiverr, but definitely a book series, animated feature film, and eventual TV show, and also the plushies,
Yeah, we're definitely going to be doing plushies.
Yeah, because you got to take Fiverr home.
Yeah, who wouldn't want to cuddle him? I mean, we're going to have a 7-foot-tall Fiverr plushie in our living room.
Yeah. Yeah, our kids are looking forward to that. That would be so cool, So that was, anyway, is there anything else that you guys want to cover? Did we cover everything else? We covered everything from the initial origination of Fiverr to story development to character design, illustration, and the process, and all of our personal prophetic journey with this actual project, right? From Jennifer's side to my side, Eric's side. So anything else, Jennifer, you wanna
yeah. I was just going to share, this map I got was to do with the publisher. This one here I showed earlier. I zoomed in it so you could see. So you can tell that we are always pointing to a couple of dots that he drew. And when I overlaid it with a map of California, it lines up with Anaheim, which is where Square Tree Publishing.
Oh, our publisher. Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and I didn't know, I never asked you guys who was publishing it, because I know, you know what you're doing, and, I just trust that you had arranged it with someone. And actually, it was the very final tweak. We were making a few changes to the clouds and things on the last page, and Eric had signed off the final one. That day, I had, just logged on. I was listening to a podcast with Sherry Ward. I was like, oh, publisher, I'll be interested in that. And she actually emailed me that evening, and I just listened to her that day, and I had no idea. And then she was saying, oh, I'm Fiverr's publisher. I mean, that's right down the whole line. It just brought the whole thing.
That's amazing. That's so that
who was on that episode with
gosh.
her? It was Sean Bowles, right?
Sean Bowles. And Sherry,
Sean Bowles had the podcast, and then Sherry was on it. And
it was actually the day that Sean Bowles uploaded it. Was the 22nd of January, and she emailed on the 22nd of January, and you emailed saying, right, it's done, it's ready to go to the publisher.
See, I didn't know that. That's an information that actually didn't know. That is so funny. But Sherry knows that already, our publisher.
Yeah, it just was oh, okay, oh my goodness.
And there's another date 22, 20.
So
it's we don't go crazy on the numbers. But in all of this, what's amazing is that to our audience too out there watching, it's just God is so in this project from the beginning. We can't take credit for it really. It started from a dream, which I believe was a godly divine appointment dream, specifically at 5:15. I don't know, but yeah, he just really drew all of the points at which we could our lives are intersecting, because we also have our own story with Sherry, and we do have another Zoom that's already been recorded with our talk with our publisher Sherry, so you guys can also catch that on our YouTube channel that I'm going to be uploading. But and then this one also is a second one. So
yeah, and so and then I do have one note.
Yeah.
Every now and then, the book has only been out for a couple of weeks, but we've had people asking us some questions well, what's going to happen to this character, or what's going to happen here? We're not exactly sure. We're not exactly sure what's going to happen in the series because we haven't written it yet. And there may be some gaps in the book where you wonder why, couldn't Fiverr eat from baby trees, And it's guys, we don't have all those answers in there. So as parents are reading to their kids, and as kids have questions, you can improvise, improvise and tell stories yourself. And, you can also say, well, I don't know, we don't know everything. And so just have fun with it. make stories up. This is how I began, telling stories, by reading books and writing crazy stories, when I was young. And you can always ad lib and improvise. So there's an answer for you, for those that have the questions.
Yeah, they're really good questions though, guys. And then, they're actually from the kids themselves. So many of them, it's just really amazing that they're asking questions. They're, interested in the conversation, all these like, deeper themes of this book. So, which we're really, really excited about. So for the last time I checked, we were number 2 on Amazon as far as the kids inspirational category new release. So that's great.
And you said number 3 for new releases for mammals.
For children's category mammals.
Yeah. Mammals. I mean, that's awesome.
So that's really cool. Yeah, we're really, really our dream for Fiverr for now is that not just that he would touch lives with the kids and about finding purpose and belonging and destiny, but also that he would be positioned as the most famous giraffe of all literature, because there actually isn't one. We've done our research, there's, everybody knows there's a famous bear, Paddington, Winnie the Pooh, famous monkey is Curious George, and Pete the cat is the cat side, so basically, but in terms of the giraffe mammal category, there isn't one. So hopefully Fiverr will be one.
Yeah. And one of the things, just to add on to that, speaking of giraffes, one of our friends from our network, our friend Gail,
we call it our holy community.
Yeah.
Right?
she said that, and she's on here. Hi, Gail.
Yeah,
she's typing things in. She said, well, a giraffe is a symbol for the prophetic because they're so tall. Their head is in the clouds compared to ours. And it's like, isn't it fitting that God would give Jill a dream and give our family a book and a series and a character that has to do with being closest, to God, the animal that is closest to God, if you will. Land animal. I mean, birds can go high, but anyhow, you know what I'm trying to get at.
Higher perspective, yeah.
Higher perspective. So that's cool.
Yeah.
So thank you, Gail, for even mentioning that to us.
But I want to, in closing, I guess, I want to actually let Jennifer say last few thoughts about sharing about Fiverr, your journey, your experience,
Yeah, it's interesting you said that, Eric. My mom had just told me that the other day, and I didn't know, I never thought like that. But
there's another one.
Yeah, there's definitely something in it. I mean, this is just an exciting book to know that it's bigger than us. Like, this is God's in this, and it's not just a book for a book's sake. There's something in this. There's something significant, and we don't know where it's gonna go or what's gonna why we're even doing this, but there's something. God has a plan for this, and I mean, that's just to be working like with yous and with the creator. I mean, it's just amazing, and it's just to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's so amazing. Like, we get to partner in creating with the creator. Like, he's the main creator of the universe, creator of all things, the man and on the earth, and it's like we get to be creative with him because he created us for his glory
and in his image.
Yes. So it's just such a privilege, and we are just so thankful for this project that was entrusted to us as the story developers, writers of this, and you, Jennifer, as the main illustrator for this and continual series for this. So we're just trusting God that it's going to land in homes and it's going to be leaving such an amazing impact and memorable,
it's a legacy.
Impression
it's a legacy
to children. Yeah, definitely.
Well, yeah, I love that.
And families, yeah. So anyway, so we just thank you so much. Any other words? I think we're good. I don't see any more questions.
Yeah. So we're good to go. Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Jennifer, for joining us. This has been such a pleasure, just reminiscing about our how we all came together through divine connection. I'm so convinced of that. So thank you so much, our audience, for coming on live with us, and for you people that will catch this on the recording. Definitely keep posting some of the questions, and we'll try to answer it as much as we can when I go back to the Facebook Live feed. And I guess you guys can find the book on Amazon. Just type in Fiverr Finds Home on Kindle and paperback.
And please share it.
Yes.
Because as you help us get, this is not just a sales pitch, but what we want to do, we want to get this out to people that normally wouldn't like go into a church or something like that. And yet they have an interest in finding out about spiritual things. And it's, God loves us so much. He wants us to know him, and he wants to speak to us and for us to be able to hear him. So, share this, because if we can get this out to families and for kids, at a young age, to know that, wow, God, the creator of the universe, actually wants to speak to them and let them know why he made them. It's like, that's just an amazing thing. And so we just feel so fortunate and blessed to be able to be the ones that are walking this out.
We were just entrusted with it.
Yeah, the stewards of this. So please share it and, like it. And if you do buy it on Amazon, please give it a great review. That would help us go a long way.
Yes. But so thank you so much for partnering with us. You're partnering with a project from heaven.
Yeah, truly is.
So thank you so much, everybody. And follow us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and also we have our website, fiverr.515publishing.com.
All right. Love you guys. Love you, Jennifer.
Love you, Jennifer. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
I've never known a love so steady,